Hello, good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to have everyone here. And we'll give like 5 minutes so that everybody else can sign in because we put 8 o'clock and we're expecting other people to sign in. So we'll give like 5 minutes for everybody to sign in. I'd like to thank everyone for attending this meeting. And it's a pleasure to have everyone. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our platform, Connecting the Dots. So, at Connecting the Dots, we're going to attempt to dispel a lot of myths and issues regarding political parties and generally what goes on in the political sector in Nigeria. So, it's a pleasure to have everyone here. The panelists are divided into two. First, we have people from the political parties, which of course will involve Yetunde Adeniji from the APC, and Sonia Abilabo from the PDP, Barrister Ifenla from the ADC, and then Ambassador Rufus from the SDP. As this goes on, we also have people representing the community, and within the community we have Bright Obasi, of course, representing the creative media, Zainab Suleiman Umar, who's coming from the Young People's Caucus, Khadija Okuno Lamidi, who's coming from the female perspective, and then Dr. Nelson Aluya, who's coming from Nigerians in diaspora. Now, the conversation is supposed to be very simple things. Now, the way the conversation is supposed to, of course, go, the political parties will respond to questions which will come from, first us, and then the community, which is everybody else, will be able to interface with, of course, the political parties. So I would first like to take a roll focus of who's around, and then we can kick off this matter. So I'll just peep a little bit and see who's around as regards to political parties. I believe Anthony is online. So is I think Ifenla too is online. I'm not sure about Ambassador Rufus, and I'm not sure about Yetunde Adeniji, but I think everybody else is online apart from those two. So I'll check that. Just give me a minute and then I'll come back. Thank you very much. So not to take everyone's time, would like to set the ball rolling. So before we start between the community and we'll start this engagement, the first thing I'd like to first ask is the common talk by activists and people outside the political space who normally say political parties don't have ideology and constitution or whatever. First, we have people within political parties here. I'm sure Anthony is online. So I'd like to start, with Anthony. And after Anthony, Ifenla can go on. We'll give you like 1 minute just to answer the question: do political parties have ideology or a constitution or a purpose or a direction? Thank you very much. Anthony, you can unmute your mic. You're a co-host, and you can unmute your mic and answer this question. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll have some background noise. Got my family on holiday mood, but just to answer your question, yes, political parties, especially the PDP, does have an ideology. It does have a constitution. It has a memorandum that it subscribes to. This particular question has been asked over and over again. But when you look at the political parties, PDP is a creation by people who fought to take power from the military. And they had a certain objective, which was to whittle down the power of the military, introduce capitalism and industrialization to Nigeria. So you'll find out that during a tenure that is powered by a PDP president, you'll find that a lot of focus is given to small and medium scale enterprises to grow. We operated a system, a capitalist driven society where we allow small SMEs to drive the economy. So we direct policy and all our government direction or government's posture towards allowing the growth of, would you call it, the middle class? Because we believe that if you have more middle class, they'll be able to trickle down the wealth of society down to where it is needed, and the devolution of powers, which we began to do, or which we effectively drove. But I have this to say. I know I have 1 minute, but I have this to say. I think our ideology for political parties is still evolving. PDP is the oldest political party in Nigeria to date. And I can tell you, having been part of several constitutional reviews of the political party called PDP, it's still a party in metamorphosis. It's still a party that is still forming. But as of today, it's the most developed party in terms of an ethos, in terms of an ideology, and in terms of a sense of direction. It strives to keep Nigerian unity intact. It prides itself as a truly national party. So no one region can say they are the owners of PDP. We have that mindset that we want to keep the country united. We want to see that everybody is included in the Nigerian process, or the Nigerian governance process. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. That was quite an apt description. Barrister Ifela, are you there to speak for the ADC? Thank you very much. Hello, Barrister Ifela. You can unmute your mic and we can have you. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Good evening, everybody. And before I start, I'd like to appreciate, as a matter of fact, Hello.
We can hear you. You're cracking a bit, but we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to appreciate the admin of Electoral College for this opportunity. And I believe that I can as well say that we look forward to more opportunities like this. You know, conversations like this are rare. And for us to have that standard Nigeria that we look forward to, it's high time we all came together on an healthy platform, you know, to talk about moving forward ideas, you know, concerning Nigeria. Now, I'm talking about ideology, manifestos, constitutions, and what have you regarding political parties in Nigeria. ADC, that is the African Democratic Congress, is that political party that, yes, indeed has an ideology. We have a party constitution. I mean, yes, we are duly registered, not only by INEC, but as well as CSC. And I mean, we have, you know, we have our constitutions. As a matter of fact, concerning the constitution, we are presently at the verge of amendments. And then concerning our manifesto, I'm actually privileged to be on board the manifesto redraft committee. And the ADC is that party that gives 35% allocation to Nigerian youth, as well as Nigerian women, and particularly persons with disability. You know, because we've gotten to that point in the country right now. The verge we are at right now is that point where we are beginning to have conversations like increasing political participation of youth in politics, increasing political participation of women, as well as persons with disability. And as of now, we have about 22 National Working Committee members, and about 5% of these committee members are youth. I mean, being the National Publicity Secretary, being the Director of Communications and Programs, I'm a youth in my own right. The National Youth Leader is a youth. The Deputy National Youth Leader is a youth, you know, as well as about 2 or 3 other, you know, National Working Committee members who are youth, as well as women. You know, our Board of Trustee chairman is a woman. and then we have about 2 or 3 members of a national working committee who are also persons with disability. So when we're talking about political ideology, we ensure that in everything we do, we ensure that these three hallmarks ends up being bearing fruit in everything we do, in decisions we make in the party. Yes, can you hear me? I'm with you.
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yes, decisions we make in the party, decisions from the national to the states, down to the local governments, down to the wards, we ensure that it's critically clear. In fact, it is crystal clear that youths, women, and persons with disability are carried along. Because over the years, we've discovered that where statistics are concerned in Nigerian elections, women, youths, and persons with disability have, a crystal clear, a huge number of statistics. And, the party just decided that, look, it's high time we started considering, deliberately considering this figure of people. So that's on one angle. On another angle, the party believes in ownership. So there's what we call the ADC DNA. Medical experts would understand that DNA basically appeals to a human person. Your DNA is who you are. You cannot be anybody without your DNA. So a lion, for instance, cannot procreate and birth a goat. A lion is only natural for a biological, rather, for a lion to birth a lion. So when it comes to transparency, responsibility, it appeals to all. So we believe in ownership. So ownership means that paying of your party dues, your registration dues, it's very, 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 very critical and important. And to do that, we are able to appeal to people of lower class, the average market woman, the average, artisan, the average Nigerian youth, who can easily afford, with, something called, as little as stipend, they can easily afford the registration fees, as well as people in the middle class, and then people beyond the middle class. And then we are also able to attend to people who cannot even afford, registration fees. So for people like that, of course, when it now comes to election, party primaries, they understand that they might not be able to, take part in certain things. But when it comes to building the party structure, we don't allow, money. Sorry, what did you say?
Barrister, we gave you 1 minute. You're turning, you're exceeding it.
Okay, all right. So, oh, all right. Thank you very much. So I guess I would like to rest here. Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle.
Thank you very much, Barrister. I noticed Yetunde Adeniji of the APC is presently around, and the question that's going on is there a direction? Is there a constitution? Is there an ideology within political parties? It's commonly said by most activists who, of course, we know, feel that there's no ideology or direction or purpose with political parties. Yetunde, you can unmute your mic. As regards the APC, please could you help us clarify? Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, Oga, Mr. Kunle. I'm so sorry for coming in late. I had issues, logging in basically with my browser. Anyway, to get to the point, not to waste anybody's time, yes, we are of the All Progressives Congress, and I bet everybody has a love. Either you love us or you hate us, basically. Or some people might be in the middle also. As regards an ideology or where it is that we're going to, APC does have an ideology. And what is our ideology? Our ideology is a better life for every Nigerian. It is for every Nigerian to be able to be comfortable in their own homes, to be able to have 3 square meals a day, and to have peace and tranquility within their environs. And how have we gone about that? Well, some people would say that we have not hit the mark. Some people will say we have hit, but like every other person or an individual or organization, the APC has been on the verge of trying to perfect everything that they do. Are we where we want to be yet? We are not. But are we better than where we were before? I would say yes, we are. APC has for when it comes to inclusion within our political party, yes, we have, gone far. Basically, we have decided that we are going to put more. We did the not too young to run bill, not too long. The president signed it into power the other time, and we have been trying within the states to put young people within the helms of power. Within the federal, yes, we have had one or two people, but we still are pushing for more younger people within the helms of affairs to run certain, things within the country, basically. But within the states, I would tell you that most governors have put in younger people within their cabinet. If you go to Ondo, most like 35 to 40% of the governor's cabinet people there are young people. If you go to Jigawa, same thing. You go to Kebbi, you go to which other states again? We heard that even Kano also. The governor of Kano too has been, on the quest to try and see that, younger people are within his cabinet. So for APC, I guess we are getting there. But we are not there fully, but we are getting there. Thank you, Mr. Kunle.
So, Betunde, thank you very much. Anthony, thank you very much. Barrister Ifenla, great. I love the fact that, there's a lot of talk about inclusion. There's a lot of talk about, direction, which, of course, considering the population of Nigeria, this is very necessary. The Electoral College, of course, remains not partisan, and we love what everybody is doing, and we love what everybody is saying. But I think now we're going to call on one of the panelists to try and push his zone from another angle. So Khadija is here, and Khadija is a woman, and Khadija is someone who I feel, represents social rights, human rights, and a direction. So Khadija, based on what you've heard from the basic political parties and their targets, and you're someone from the outside, and of course we're keeping this conversation very clean. I need to mark that at this point. So Khadija, I'd like to hear your views as a woman. How is access into these political parties? Is there access for membership for women? Or how has any woman fared? And how could the panelists probably tackle these problems which you would probably present while you speak? Or if it has been fluid, let us know how fluid it has been within the PDP, ADC, or the APC. Thank you very much, Khadija.
Okay, good evening, everyone. And Kunle, thank you for having me. I'm really, really impressed with this confluence of different ideas. I like to look at things as from my perspective, which is a female perspective. And I feel like I can talk for many like myself. We're faring well. I don't like to be a bearer of bad news. I think we're faring well in the fact that in the development of women and their capacity, women are doing great things in different fields and are constantly pushing the mark. They're breaking glass ceilings left, right, and center. However, the only aspect or the only industry, I'll call it, that we are not able to really push our weight is in the political sphere. And I think the reasons for that might be clear. There's still, we're still living in a patriarchal society, which, it is not beneficial to us, because all the strides that women are making in other industries, if we bring that to the stage, to the political stage, I think we'll go, light years ahead of where we are right now. That notwithstanding, we have men who are capable, who are doing great things. However, the females that are the representation, I want to be able to see more women in politics. And I know bills are passed. Bills are put forth whereby they say they want to change, they want to bring in more women, but we haven't seen the action in terms of it getting actually being done. The Senate, we have 109 seats and we have 8 women. I think that is, it's said that if you don't have women at the table, you're not making good decisions. This is why the country is where it is today. So you can hear political parties saying they have ideology, but the truth is political parties, the politics in the political parties, that is what metamorphs into the national politics. So what we see on a national level is actually coming from the political parties. I haven't seen any, to be honest, what I feel is all political parties need to sit down on the table and create one ideology. All the ideologies that they claim that they have within are not working. If you look back, we can talk, and if you look back, I don't think you can actually think that there's development going on. There's development in little pockets and little areas of people's lives, but there's no real development in the society, in the communities. No, there's none. Why do we have to depend on luck? If you're lucky, a politician can pick you and make your life great. That is luck. That is a game of chance. And that is why, I mean, if you look at it, that's why all Nigerians are turning towards gambling, because it's a game of luck. Nigeria has made you believe that it's only luck, that there are no systems, there are no controls, there's no rule of law that actually binds people. What we have are systems that try to divide. So to be honest, I feel, well, if Nigeria is going to move forward, we need a strong coalition, and it has to be on a grand scale. So you can come in here and defend your party. That's all well and good. That's great. But you have to look at the bigger picture and start looking above party lines, because party lines are just a divisive tool, if you ask me. But then again, I still commend my women. I'm glad that we're making strides. And thank you for the men too, because we couldn't have made these strides without them. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Khadija. And I think your summations were, of course, imperative. And I think I will allow 30 seconds for Anthony starting first, Ifenla second, and then Yetunde third, to respond to maybe anything you felt about Khadija's input. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much once again. I think the whole idea of a political party is to solve political problems. Like she said, we're not there, we're not perfect. But people have to realize that it's people that are in political parties. We have this, we fall to this sin so often of saying that political party is bad, but forgetting that there are people who were in that political party in 1990, 2005, 2010, 2015, 2020 that have passed on. There's a new generation of people getting involved in the political parties. Where are you? What are you doing? How have you played your own part towards making sure that you shape the narrative and destiny of the political party that you sort of believe in its ideology? So there's a framework for ideology. For instance, for a party like PDP, there's a framework for which it builds its consensus around, which is one that is a truly national party. It's a party that believes that the whole of Nigeria must be carried along in anything it does. So there's no one section that is left behind. And that's why it's introduced zoning, at least to an extent that it feels that every part of Nigeria will feel carried along. Particular zoning pattern or formula, it punished the office holder, who at the time was President Jonathan, by refusing to massively come out and vote him for a second term. Yeah, that's just assuaging people's mental states. But in terms of delivery as a political party, one has to take into consideration the very many laudable economic, would I say, gains with the political party called PDP through its executive or its political leadership delivered. If you would indulge me, you remember that the whole development of GSM, creation of the policies and frameworks to allow for the thriving of that particular medium, which has had other offshoots in terms of economic development. GSM, that was a PDP initiative, and it drove other social, economic, small and medium enterprise development policies like UWIN, SureP, and all those other projects, which it believed that it needs the small and medium scale enterprise to grow the economy, and allowed for and was driving, quite frankly, towards a decentralization of power and taking off things that we have probably in the exclusive list that have hindered our progress as a country. I think this is a very gradual, we cannot unbundle our constitution, as it were, in one fell swoop. I think a process of continuously effect.
Hello, Anthony, are you there? Or did we lose you? Hello, Anthony, are you there? Okay, could we have Ifenla now? Thank you very much. Ifenla, could you go ahead
All
and
right.
just into what?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle Lawal. I think to start with, I would like to clarify something. And I mean, that's one of the things I know I like to tell a couple of Nigerian youths. And that's the fact that there is no new political party that has experience, that has seasoned politicians that cannot be
I'm
traced
sorry,
to
I
other
just realized
political
that I've been
parties.
yapping and my phone was on mute.
Oh, well,
So I'll probably have to say what I said all over again. The PDP is built on an ideology of nationalism. It was founded by G39, people who had been instructively, probably are most likely jailed in 1983 by the same person we have as president today. And they decided that they were going to take power from the military at a great risk to themselves and their families. And they formed the political party PDP and decided that they were going to grow the economy off the back of small and medium scale enterprise. They introduced what you now know as GSM, the phone companies that we have, and its subsidiaries. And in that process, opened up the economy for diversified investments. The PDP thrived on allowing or creating the space for small and medium scale enterprises through programs like UWIN, SureP, and other developmental policies that were targeted at growing the middle class. Unfortunately, most of the middle class that was farmed and grown between the period of 1999 to 2015 have today dissipated or have jackpot. But then again, that speaks to political party policy, political party manifesto, and political party ideology. I must emphasize that for a party that is probably the oldest in Nigeria and about 21 years old, we are still evolving. The American system has had over 300 years. The British system has had over 400 years of evolution within the political setting to get to where it is. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Our constitution, the 1999 constitution, needs to be unbundled and unpacked, but we have not seen much progress, perhaps because for the last couple of years, it's been held by a political party that doesn't seem to have gotten itself together or quite understands the urgency at which we need to develop legislative framework for the development of society. I dare say, and I must say that most of the hindrance to our development is simply because we have failed to upgrade our legal framework in line with best day practices. And this also has to do with the political party and its ideology and framework and what it is made up of. But again, we must also realize that there is a group of young people who now populate the political space, the political parties, especially within the PDP, young and upcoming political leaders, which we see as the future of Nigeria. People like Demola Olerwaju, Oseaneni, young, bright people
who are populating the PDP space as we speak and have ideas as to where they think the economy, the country, and policies should be driven. Thank you very much. Sorry, I missed up on my time because I muted my phone.
Thank you very much.
But I'll
Please
stop now.
thank you very much. Please let's keep to the time frame. Ifenla, please could you continue? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. Once again, so to go straight to the point. So I was trying to lay a quick background to the fact that without being sentimental, I like to tell Nigerian youth that you cannot averagely find a political party that doesn't have its direct or indirect affiliation, association with seasoned politicians that go as far back as 20 years, 30 years, or more than that, since 1999. I mean, when we basically really started off as a democratic country, so to speak. Now, and there's this thing being said that when you do the same thing over and over and over again, and you expect the same results, I mean, it doesn't get you anywhere. Now, knowing that and having that at the back of our mind, in ADC, in order for us to make any headways, we saw that, or rather, we thought it wide that we needed to start migrating to a different model, that is quite opposed to the existing obsolete traditional modus operandi. Now, we all know that politics is people inclined. Politics is people oriented. When you talk politics, we are talking about people, and we talk politics, we are talking about people in the grassroots, because we all know that politics is a game of numbers. Now, and to make the impact, we had to make sure that we are transformational in our mind. And then it brings us down to the WIIFM, which means what is in it for me? When you talk to an average Nigerian person, it tells you, they ask you, what is it going to be in it for me? I mean, what's in it for me? What am I going to get? And so for people to have that ownership mindset, for people to understand the fact that we are people oriented, we are concerned about them, especially the youth. So, we make a call out for youth to come together, and, embrace our ideology that is ownership inclined towards a great vision of development. And ADC is not just a political party, it's a transformational party. It's also a learning institute. Now, on the Learning Institute right now, we have a playbook that we're already starting with Lagos State. We have to go get, because we are not only working with seasoned politicians, we're also working with technocrats, we're working with people in NGOs, CSOs, people from international organizations, people from CSOs. So we can all understand what it really means, to be able to reach out to the electorate. And to do that, we decided, let's start off with Lagos State. And, we already have that prototype we are working with, such that we are able to reach out to youth for them to understand that when you come with us, and work with us, then you'll be able to partake in everything we want to do for the country. So which means that ADC has recognized that only good governance delivered by government that has a duty of care. We have to underline duty of care. We'll be able to get through to people. And that's the only way we can change the narrative. So students, they have their own structure. People in polytechnics, they have their own structure. Even down to secondary schools, in as much as they are beyond 18 years old, they have their own structure, because we want everybody to be able to have their own, because politics is about interests. So we want everybody in ADC to have their own interests being covered up. We don't want to throw anybody under the bush or under the bus. So I understand what Dr. I'm sorry if I'm getting her name wrong, Dr. Khadijat, I understand where she's coming from. But we've done we've made mistakes. And it's high time we started realizing that, yes, we've made mistakes. And if we need help, let's call out for help. And we've been able to do that in ADC by, reaching out to technocrats and telling them, help us walk through with our constitution. What are we not getting right? How are we going to please Nigerians? How are we going to get through to the electorate? Because they are the ones that will put us in power. They are the ones that would ensure that this political party, which is a vehicle to field candidates, how can we please you? And that is what we are doing with our co-ownership, transformation, inclined ideology. So I would like to rest for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And Yetunde, as regards to what Khadija had to say. I would like to hear what the APC is probably thinking. You're a woman, and I know you're very very influential within the APC. So I'd like to hear what you have
Let
to say.
me, yeah, sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. Let me start by, tackling the issue of women participation in politics. You see, the issue that I think we have as women is that we don't come out. That's the honest truth. I have been in politics within the APC for a number of years now, and I would tell you that amongst my peers, so to say, the amount of women that have participated, it's not encouraging compared to the men folk, so to say. And it gets to a point where, people will start having to beg women to come out, or when you talk to your fellow women, they will tell you, at the end of the day, nobody will vote for you. You have to put in the work. You have to, be able to make that sacrifice to come out and, be a part of something and be known and put your stand on the ground. One thing, again, I have also noticed about us is that we, in Nigeria especially, most of, young people in this country are social media activists. That is, everybody complains, but nobody has taken the time out to go and, stand up, go to your ward, register for a political party and start to create the change that you want to see. With regards to the APC, well, we had a former party in power for 16 years thereabouts, and we know how things were run within the political party. Now the APC has come in and it's not business as usual. There are some changes that have been made. Some people are uncomfortable about it and some people are not happy about it. But you see, with the new crop of people coming up, which I am happy to say that, more young people are coming out to participate. And these people are coming out to say, come, we do not want what has happened in the past. We don't want business as usual. This is what we want. We want to see our country progress. We want to see things change in this country. And they are, basically, they say power is not given a la carte. You have to force your way to get it. And at the end of the day, these people are putting in the work, they are putting in the pressure, and their voices are being heard. And the good thing about APC is that they've given you a platform to air your mind. Good, bad, they still give you that platform to say, okay, you know what, if you are unhappy about something, you say it out and they would listen to you. So I would, talk to people who are not happy about whatever it is that they've seen going wrong. It's one thing to just sit down and talk and talk and talk and not do anything about it. You could actually stand up and say, okay, you know what, let me try and, change something. Let me lend my voice to something. If you're within a state and you see that you are not happy about policies being made, or you are not happy about the way things are going, your leaders are not know-it-all. They too, they are human beings. There's always a way to reach out to them. There's always a way to let your voice be known to them. And at the end of the day, it is maybe it is your own advice or whatever it is that you are bringing to the table that they would see and say, okay, fine, we should implement this policy based on what it is that you have said. So coming back to women in politics again, I would advise us as women folk to get involved more. I know that society looks down on women sometimes that are in politics and people talk, but this is 2021. Things are changing. People are changing. I think we need to push more as women and get involved. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for the political parties, and it's great to have you here because it's improving this conversation. But there's something critical I would like to ask, and I of course have been part of a political party. I know how I got into a political party. I know I rose up, and I think I joined the political party sometime in 2014. I was able to become director of strategy, and then I wrote to national publicity secretary, all within the space of 3 years, I think. And it was hard work. So I'd like to call on Nelson. Now, Dr. Nelson, you're a Nigerian living in diaspora. Parties have, of course, tried to how do I put it, to offer themselves to the Nigerians in diaspora. How far has that gone? How easy is it? And generally, how has membership drive within political parties and Nigerians living in diaspora been? Dr. Nelson, I would like you to maybe clarify or open up that conversation, and then we'll allow people from parties to answer. Thank you.
Well, great. Good afternoon from here. Greetings from New Jersey, here in the East Coast of the United States. Thank you for having me, and thank you for putting this together. It's about time that we have a discussion like this. Like I always say, it takes innovative minds to come together to find innovative methods to answering questions or solving problems that come out of individual spaces. And Kunle, you've taken that charge and leadership in this space, and I must commend you for doing this. And to everybody who taken their time off to be here, I commend you all as well. This is a discussion that we ought to have, and I'm glad we're having it, because those of us in the diaspora, as much as all of you, and almost every Nigerian now, is really concerned about the future of what Nigeria is heading and what leadership that it would entail to take Nigeria to where we really want to be, and who are those who are involved, and how much of involvement and participation that needs to be done across the board. Now, for those in the US, I am the president of the Nigerian American Public Affairs Committee. For those who don't know, that's NAPAC USA. We are a platform where we identify, encourage, educate, and inform Nigerian Americans to get involved in policies and politics here in the United States. Our primary mandate is here, but nevertheless, we have collaborated with individuals and organizations within here in the United States, as well as back home, to help increase the awareness of the political space and understanding of what true leadership is all about. As far as I'm concerned, I've been in that space, the political atmosphere, both what's happening in Nigeria and here for quite a while. And predominantly, we've heard a few of the political parties who've reached out, but through individuals. The last one was when the last electoral process took place in Nigeria, where APC and PDP were truly on the ground. Then we have some of these budding political parties that showed interest and reached out to the individuals here in the diaspora to see if they can participate. Well, it's two ways. Nigerians here in the diaspora would love to. We're really interested in what's going on, but then we don't feel we have a complete bite or a complete stake into the political space that's happening in Nigeria. And a lot of the time, in as much as we understand that they have ideologies and programs and all that, but none of it is actually reaching the ground here. Probably because they don't have the ideal representation that they ought to have. Or again, pardon me if I say that, it's just a hogwash agenda, once again, where they reach out to those who in the diaspora just in case they need help or for financial backing. Of course, it sounds really great when they come looking for money and they think those in the diaspora will be able to pool their resources to help them as well. But I feel that there's so much that should be done and can be done if a few things are settled. One, identify individuals or groups in the diaspora who are engaged in that particular space that would drive the agenda and help your message, come out clear and loud within those here in the diaspora. Because again, we have direct contact either physically or financially back home. We'll be able to educate our people and say, you know what, if you want your life better, rather than me sending money home to my cousins or nephews or whoever, vote the right set of people. Don't be swayed, with, a wrapper or a bag of rice. But identify those who could truly rule and lead the country right. But then those are some of the issues that are still there. We have other issues as well, in the sense that, the voting rights that they've been talking about, where individuals in the diaspora should be able to vote. I know there's been a bill that's been put down, going through the whole process. Again, that's another, time, another space for discussion about that. But I think by the time that's passed and Nigerians in the diaspora are truly engaged in that political process, they will feel then that they have a true stake in it, and then they're truly involved. As it is right now, for anybody who's here to participate, you have to go back to your local government area, go get registered and go the whole process. It's cumbersome. And for some of us who have lived here in the United States or anywhere, or Canada or Europe, some of them left home over 20, 30, 40 years ago. So, and that root connection is not there. If they make it possible for them to, maybe the political parties can put pressure on those who are responsible to make it easy for parties to register, for individuals to register and become members. I think that's one way of we can do that. And again, I'm sure there are the other questions, and I can take it off from there. Thank you.
So thank you very much, Dr. Nelson, for putting this in. I'd like to hear from Bright Obasi. Now, Bright Obasi is a movie producer, and he's coming in from a very, different angle. Bright has a movie, that actually pushes on the political arena, and it's a lovely movie. I've seen it, and it kind of tells how someone tries to run for president in the movie, and the realities of politics on ground and everything going on. So the question what I would like Bright Obasi to try and clarify is how political parties really approached the creative media to try and sell a message, or to try and demystify the Iron Curtain, which is normally shrouded in political reach. I'd also like to say this before anyone thinks differently. We are responsible for the kind of environment we have. Most of us just want to participate in a selection, which is our thought process of the elections, and not try to put hands or delve in, intra-party politics, and try to get the credible candidates out. So, Bright, I'd like to see how much you'd like to. Now you have access to, the APC, the PDP, and the ADC who are present here. The SDP is yet to sign in. I don't know for what reason, but you're here, and you've put out a movie which, of course, is great content. How has maybe the situations prevailing affected your movie? How would you want political parties to probably access the creative media in trying to tell a story? Because if you look at it, America was built on Hollywood. Captain America apparently defined America's greatness before the dropping of the Hiroshima bomb in Nagasaki, and how? Please explain this to us, or just open it up for us. Thank you very much, Mr. Bright.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Kunle, and thanks for everyone here. My name is Bright. I'm a film producer, and mainly I focus mainly on using film to drive social change. My last film being the movie If I'm President. Yeah, so I don't think we've had these really strong engagements with political parties when it comes to using the power of media and the power of film. to drive this narrative. I think much of what we've seen, in quotes, I would say a lot of times people just want to feed their belly. So celebrities, they have celebrity power. And so parties could engage celebrities to run campaigns, to do, whatever you're told to do, whatever you're paid to do, you can do that for them. And then, the face is out there. So you have big following, you have 5 million people, 10 million people and all that. But I still feel that parties can actually do a lot more than engaging maybe like celebrities or platforms like this to cajole this electorates to vote them. Because if a party has a great agenda for the nation, trust me, there are better ways to sell it to the people, because this thing is all about behavioral science. Like you said, film has the power to change the world. That's just the truth. A lot about Barack Obama coming into office has been defined long ago in Hollywood. Hollywood defined a lot about America. Millions of Nigerians have not been to America, but they will tell you a lot about America. How? They just saw it in movies and they believe it. They believe that American military comes into your country, they can take down anything. That's the story America has told us. So film really has the power to create that behavioral change. And so I think parties can really explore more with respect to not just use media in general. I look at my film, for instance, if I'm president, currently is like over 700 and something thousand views, 730 something thousand views. I had to put it on YouTube because I wanted every Nigerian across the world to reach it. So what empowers me, encourages me, it's not because 60 million people are going to see the film, but it's the comment. If you go right there and listen to what people are saying, you see a lot of Nigerians who tell you, I've given up in this country. I've given up on this country. I never believed I would ever get hope again, but right now I have hope. And a lot of them are saying, I'm going to get my PVC come 2023. A lot of them are, so it simply means that really it has the power, the potency to change human behavior. If these people can make this decision by just engaging with one film, a lot can be done. Example, research has shown that the series Sugar, it has done a great deal to curb HIV/AIDS, even here in Nigeria, and especially in South Africa, Kenya. There's a research that proves that. And that's because people are engaged with what they saw themselves in, characters they could relate with, and they change behavior. So I think if parties begin to also look at how to use the media in this part, because even the celebrity who has 10 million followers, 15 million followers, the truth is that rather than these people just getting money to do campaigns and go out, these same people could be used, as role models to model the actual behavior. One major thing that we've lost as a society is patriotism. Every Nigerian, most Nigerians have lost that. The young people, a lot of them, everybody tells you Japa, everybody that has the slightest opportunity, like one of the speakers earlier mentioned, most of the people that have been trained, even by previous, they've left the country. So we need to bring back the spirit of patriotism to Nigerians. And one of the major ways to bring that back is to give hope again. And it's not just by words. Sometimes we could model these trains through things they engage with. BB Nigeria, everybody sees the engagement it gets. I'm not talking about moral values right now. I'm talking about the power of media. It has that kind of power. Films have that power. Media has that power. So I think, parties could also start looking on how to use this power of media to begin to model the kind of country we want. And as a party, I've listened to a few parties say things about, their ideologies and all, but trust me, many Nigerians don't know about it. A lot of people don't know about it. And a lot of these things can actually be made known via the media. So what is your party selling out? It's not what your party has inside, but what your party selling, because media really controls the mind of people. So I think parties would do much better if they use the power of media, the power of film to really communicate a lot of what they want to do. Like the example I gave, series like even 24 made us believe a Black president can sit in the United States, and Obama did. Right now we're talking about COVID-19. We know that there's a film that came out years ago that, film is sometimes like a prophecy. So parties can, key into this and use it for that good. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bright Obasi. Very great stuff. Now, before I go to the political parties, that's people representing the political parties, that will be Atoni, Yetunde, and Ifenla. I'd like you guys to keep this short because we're looking at ending this all up by 9:30. So I'd like to ask you one question. So as regards membership drive for people in diaspora, what are your thoughts? As regards using creative media, which is of course an opening and diversionary tactic, what would you think could bring about these changes? So now I'd like to reverse the circle of people starting so that Anthony does not have an unnecessary advantage like Pete Sampras or Andrea Agassi. I'd like to start with Yetunde Adeliji. Thank you very much from the APC. Yetunde, so Nigerians in diaspora, membership drive, and using the creative media. Is APC thinking about?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kunle. As regards the Mr. Nelson, when he said about diasporans being able to vote via online, it's already for the APC anyway. It's already in the constitution. We just had our ward local government and state congresses not too long ago, and we're still, in the process of trying to, first of all, not only collate, we're also trying to, appease, because definitely when things like this happen, you always have aggrieved members or not aggrieved members. So the APC is, almost done with trying to set his own house in order, and it has come up severally about the aspect of being able to register for our members who do not live within the country. And that would also help us a great deal, when it comes to, the registration drive and all of that. And also he made mention of, having people in the diaspora also being able to get involved in politics hands-on, even if they are abroad. This to me it has been an issue, so to say, in the sense that there are different groups. You always find different groups, especially from the diaspora, that always come around, and you tend not to know which one is which at some particular point. So we as a people, especially as a party, I know that we have to do more work when it comes to that. We have to be able to channel, to know the right set of people who we're dealing with, have more discussions, open discussions, have more mediums for us to be able to sit down and share ideas and be able to impact in ourselves. That is something that I see that our party would put more effort to in future. And then regarding movies and the media, as Mr. Bright said, that's an interesting topic also, because we're living in a jet age where everything that people are doing now is movie oriented. You have to see the visuals of a whole lot of things. Everybody's online, they are getting their information online, their news information is all online, and it makes people either hate you or love you the more. So yes, our parties have more work in that regard, to be able to to come up with more creative ideas in order to put out there. I know that we have fantastic online people that we have that, create content and always put out there, but we need to do more work. And this is something that, I would still push within the party structure. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Yetunde from the APC. Could I have Ifenla right now to answer those questions? So Nigerians, access to Nigerians in diaspora and using the creative media to try and
Okay. Thank you very much again, Mr. Kunle Lawal. If I didn't know any better, I would have, thought possibly that Dr. Nelson, had a glimpse of some of the things ADC has been doing concerning persons in, diaspora. And, to be much more precise without fishing around the bush, I talked about women, the youth, and what have you, being given allocation in a constitution. And to be much more specific, Articles 13 to 15, makes accommodation for a youth league, women league, leadership institutes, and, an ADC diaspora network, which is being headed by, a deputy national chairman. And basically now we all know that Nigeria is structured into 6 geopolitical zones. But in ADC, we have a 7th geopolitical zone, which specifically is for persons or people in diaspora. And they also have about 6 regions, Africa, America, Middle East and Asia, Europe and Oceania. And like I said, they have, they are ably represented by Deputy National Chairman, who is part of our, NWC, that's the National Working Committee. So which means that every now and then, whenever we are having, National Working Committee meetings, NEC meetings, the diaspora is ably represented by their representatives. And it's not just, an overhead thing. So which means that by next year, when party primaries begin to have, by the time candidates start showing interest, to purchase their nomination of interest form, their expression of interest rather, and nomination forms, persons in diaspora, our representatives in diaspora are actually required to get people candidates from the diaspora that will represent them. And as of now, we also have our own shadow cabinet. In fact, to be much more specific, we're able to appoint members from diaspora network as a shadow cabinet, and their head office is presently in Germany. And basically, they also have an innovation. They've been bringing lots of things to the table, and just to ensure that by 2023, they are evenly represented. And talking about creatives, yes, Mr. Bright, you're very, 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 very correct. We need to start, we don't need to wait until 2023 or election periods before we start speaking to, people in the creatives, in Nollywood, in music, communities and what have you. We don't have to wait till that time. And one of the things we've also been able to do is to ensure, I was talking earlier about, collaborating with persons in CSOs, in NGOs, network of disabled women and what have you. We've also been able to ensure that some people in ICT affiliated, and people who have, I personally am a scriptwriter, a few other Nigerian, Nollywood people. So when it comes to that point in time when we know that we need to, start churning out creative content, videos, animations, and what have you. And really, it has nothing to do with education, or rather election. It has nothing to do with election, because Nigerians are very smart. When you come to them prior election, they know what you want for them. So you won't be able to reach them directly. But when you come to them from the point of, we want you to learn. We want you to learn about patriotism. We want to give you hope. We want you to learn about Nigerian history. How did we get to where we are at? It will be very easy for them to open up and understand what you're saying. So moving forward, in fact, right now, we also have a committee that is revamping our website. By early next year, by January, we'll be launching our website. and everything that has to do with our ideology, our manifesto, our creed, even the playbook I talked about, everything will be put out there because we are working with professionals. We have to go as far as organizing a photo shoot for all our National Working Committee members and NEC members, and every important person, because we don't want to leave anybody behind. And our co-ownership, values, we ensure that all this, reach out to persons in diaspora, as well as even people in the grassroots. So yes, anything that has to do with creativity is something we need to work on intentionally and not just on social media basis. Talk about, and flyers, talk about WhatsApp, talk about broadcast and what have you. We need to ensure that we keep on educating people, because creativity and entertainment is one of the fastest ways news items get out there. And for me, being in charge of communications of the party and programs generally, we are very, very keen on anything programs, anything creative, anything entertainment inclined. So we look forward to working with as many people as would want to work with us, because really there's no one who is an island, no one knows everything. So we look forward to more partnership inclined people that would want to work with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And please, I hope we can just try to keep our answers concise and try to, work within the prism of, the time we have. So, of course, I have my brother Anthony of the PDP. Everybody's my brother. My sister is Yetunde Adiniji of the APC, and of course, Ifenla also is a sister to me. I'd like to hear what Sir Anthony has to say. Thank you very much.
Well, Kunle, I'll speak from experience and I'll speak from a point of what I've tried to do. I'm a lawyer by profession, but by practice, I'm a media person. Over the years, I've developed a niche. If you've seen what PDPA did in 2019, during the Atiku campaign, we started a novel thing of a live studio where we went 24 hours live productions. We've told stories in satire. In fact, today I actually stumbled across some satire that we did, reading political, which of course something the APC did in 2015, but I don't know why the creatives they've had have sort of left their fold. But we've come a long way, and we've sort of developed that niche, and we've been working on it. And I can tell you that 2022 is the year we deploy cinema as a political party. We're prepared for it. Some of our equipment are not yet on ground, but we've taken the time to beef up our capacity to deploy film, cinema, creatives towards achieving this objective. Particularly we understand that the demographics favors the 18 to 35, and we understand the channels that these guys operate in. They operate in the TikTok world, they operate in the world of Snapchat, live studios, live short reels on Instagram and all of that. So we understand the thematics. Like I said earlier in my presentation, it would be a very big mistake to say that the PDP of yesterday is what you have today, because we have new blood, we have new thinking, we have people who are seeing the future as it presents itself, and we want to take advantage of that future. We certainly know that we've not told the story of Nigeria. We've not told the story of Nigeria's political development. And that's the task that, I saw the guy who spoke before the three of us for the political party, that I'm actually trying to Google him because I want to have a word with him. But I do certainly believe that he spoke my mind. He spoke he spoke the way I see Nigeria of the future. I think that we as Africans, particularly not just Nigerians, have not told our unique stories. We've not told the stories of, when you hear of Black Panther, I think that was the only character that was made out of Africa, and it was such a big hit. But we have real-time, real-life Black Panther stories. We have I mean, they've just told Queen Amina on Netflix. Uh, but I mean, there's a lot more to be told. The Obas of Benin, the Enigies, they have not told that story. I'm from Edo State, and I hold that very dear to my heart. That's something that we've not yet done. There's a lot of quality that we need to bring out in this. And I dare say that the politics of the 21st century is going to revolve around that. The big spending, which political parties are still unaware of, if you ask me. I mean, I like all the talk from the ADC person, but we all know that you still have to have a structure on ground, and you have to break your communication to that structure. I think external adulation, like creating content for the external population, is very important. But right now, inward focus as to getting the grassroots properly sensitized and being able to show them the future if they participate is very important. And that's why you find TV channels like Arise and all the others digressing towards having live stream futures and all of that. We understand this market totally. The problem we have is being able to translate this to some of our leaders who are not necessarily informed or adverse to this or appreciative of this particular direction that they need to take. But we do know one thing. We're ready for the future. We're poised to take this direction. We're already doing this. We're already doing a lot of all this work. And we hope that we're able to, again, when you say parties do not have ideology, it's also reminiscent of what the guy who spoke about having Brights, yes, that's his name, who spoke about having a representation, a graphic, audiovisual representation of the history of this policy. I'm sure, and it's something that's, I mean, I'm the head of new media for PDP. Something is a project that we just had a new NWC. We do hope that APC can get their act together and give us an NWC so that we'll have somebody to compare or somebody to share, judge always on that level. But with the new NWC of the PDP, I'm very certain that within the next couple of months, of course, content takes a while to curate. We're ready to curate that content. Like I said, we're ready. We're ready for the future. We're going to be shooting in 6K Pro cameras. We recently just took delivery of very high-tech, sophisticated editing computers from Apple. It took us about 2-3 months to order because we'll be editing 6K material and found out that the normal editing stuff we have doesn't really work for that. So we've upgraded content. We're ready to deploy serious content to be able to, first of all, tell the story of who we are as a political party. I'm speaking particularly for PDP, who we are, our journey, where we're coming from, and the vision we have for Nigeria. We need to be able to tell this story in pictures, audio, and audio visual. So Kunle, I must tell you that I'm very grateful for affording me the opportunity to speak. This is one of the innovative mediums that I think that as a political party we'll be doing a lot more PDP I'm speaking of. We'll be doing a lot more webinars, a lot more engagement, and telling people the future that we have for them. This is, I think, one of the biggest problems political parties suffer is that they do not envision a future and share it to people so that people can hold them accountable to it. We cannot hold APC accountable for any promise they made in 2015. But I dare say that moving forward into 2023, I think political parties, political leadership, people who want to be presidents and whatever, should begin to be held up to that liability of telling people the future that they will provide for them. And so we can hold them accountable to it. I think this is the future that we as a political party, and particularly people like me who are in the political party, want to be able to project for the future. Thank you for giving me this time.
Hello.
Hello. I think we lost Anthony. So considering that this talk, of course, has gone a little bit, you know, wider, I would like to say something. The Electoral College, of course, in its experience and its understanding of political parties, understands that political parties are vehicles. A lot of people will say they disagree with one political party or agree with another. The Electoral College stands and says that political parties are like your favorite football team, for example. So if you have a football team, sometimes the player or the coach could be a little funny. You don't stop being a fan of the team. What happens is that you start asking for the coach out, or you start asking for one particular player out. There are vehicles to the office, and we need to understand this. And even if a political party is the way we think it is, a political party can only have bad players, it cannot make the political party bad. And because we do not participate, we also do not understand that this is necessary to the system. Anyway, not to digress too much. I'd like to open the conversation for a few people. And Saeed has had his hand up for a while. I'd like to say I'll take 3 questions. Saeed is the first one who has his hand up before I even mention that. So Saeed, could we have your question or whatever you'd like to put in as a comment? And please note, you must keep your conversation respectable and non-derogatory. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Kule, and good day to you all. I'm actually calling representing the diaspora in this case. It's been a very interesting dialogue all along, and I do appreciate and congratulate each and every attendee so far. Just going by the count of, the attendees, I think that's obviously where we also really need to start from. We can't talk about our country without actually having full representation cut across the various age groups. But a few points I really just want to pull out here is we can't do without the hold, and yes, we must embrace the new to come into play. However, we have to strategically look into building our country into the future we want by really catching them young, as it were. I normally try to use an analogy of a tree. A tree that's actually grown from a seed to a seedling, then finally become a mid-age adult, and then finally an adult, can only but just be replanted, budding an existing branch of it, and then starting all over. So what do I mean to say? We have to strategically focus on our younger generation, age brackets 10 running through 18, to address the issue of our country. In addition to that, we have to also really look into the current leadership by amplifying arms of government that actually needs to be held accountable for transparency and truth. We have the population. Yes, we have the goodwill of people who wants to serve, but we do not have the true representation to amplify those voices. I would love to see a situation where INEC, is a part of this conversation, for example, regardless of what the status is or who's actually putting it together. I would like to see the media also a part of this kind of conversation. I would like to actually also have representation of public institutions, from the Nigerian police to customs to the educational boards, being a part of these conversations, and even civil service representatives. These are the only ways we can affect the change that we need. So again, not a shade to anyone, but a throw of a challenge to each and every one of us, all the political parties. I'm glad to hear the young men and women who are actually representing their parties, but we all know it goes beyond just your voices. You have to hold those leaders accountable, and your voices must be heard. So again, congratulations, everyone. Keep up the good energy, and let's all look forward to a futuristic Nigeria come 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Saeed. And I think at this point, I'll allow Mr. Kola Akinwale to make a statement. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Kunle, and can I say lovely Christmas to everyone. The conversations are great, and I think it's awesome to have the young men and women in the political space. But I think I also said, and anybody who hears me speak would say that, look, so much has been put out on social media. If you want to get a PhD, go on social media, you get that. Where we're at now is enough of the talking, too many conversations. Nigerians enjoy that, the microphones and the public speaking, that's all great. But without any practical involvement in the political space, it's a complete waste of time. The country is at a point where I'm not too sure it's going to stand another 4 years of the existing government. That's the bottom line. Promises are done. The governments have had the opportunities. I think it's time for to look in a different direction. There's a thought force. Look at other political parties as well, and let the electorates give them a chance to come in and show what they can do. It's time to hold anybody who is running a country accountable. We should be having open air meetings like this, even with the government as well, even down to the local government level, all the way through to different arms of the party. That needs to happen. Enough is enough. We've taken enough from the Nigerian government. Anybody who comes in now has got to do the job. It's done in countries internationally. Dubai was built from scratch. All the developing countries, they only have people. Our biggest problem is not the system we run, it's the people. And that orientation as well, the mind orientation, is a bottom-up thing. The average Nigerian has a sense of entitlement. They're not prepared to mock in and change their minds. It's amazing. We're achieving all over the world. I live in diaspora as well, but I'm now committed myself to Nigeria for my country because it deserves better. But if things are going to change, we all have to pull together and bring that collective mind into the political space and do something practical for a change and be ready to sacrifice for our country, not what we can take from the country, but what we can offer to the country. We do that, we have a massive chance because we are great people of great intellect and great abilities. But without the duty of care for our country, the pain that these people are going through, if we don't do it for them, then we have no right being in the political space. That's my submission. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Scholar. And I think your comments come in and everybody has taken cognizant. I would like Charles to come on. And after Charles, I would allow every speaker who was picked here, still present, to give a 1-minute summation or inclusion of whatever they want to do. But let's hear what Charles has to say first, and then we can go on to that. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and thank you to the participants. I think I'm from the diaspora myself. I'm from the North Carolina area of the US. And it was very good to hear the cordial, conversation that went on the last several hours or several minutes, as the case may be, without any shouting, yelling. And I wish that others we learn from what we heard from the participants here today and have a civil conversation about where to take our dearly beloved country, Nigeria. What direction should we go? Obviously, we have different views on where things should be, but the fact that the conversation was civil, I think that was marvelous. I belong to that camp that says Nigeria needs to go a different direction. We have seen too many failures. We have seen too many start and stops. We have seen too many abandoned, if you will, projects, only because people who were responsible did not have a clear vision of where they were going. And you cannot continue to function that way. Nigeria has too much capacity. Nigeria has too much knowledge. Nigeria has too much human ability to be doing what we are doing right now. So yeah, we need a total, complete overhaul. And I do not believe that continue to maintain the status quo in the hands of those that have been doing it for the past several years is not right for Nigeria. It's not good for Nigeria. It's not productive. And so we need to do something differently. Okay, thank you all very much, and appreciate the opportunity to chime in. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And we'll take a last comment from El Aditunji, if I'm right.
Sorry, hello everybody. Is that for me, Mr. Lawal?
Yes. El Aditunji, if I'm right. Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon to the guys in the States. This is a wonderful conversation. I've seen how you brought in all the questions from the ideology to the diaspora aspect and to membership generally. And you see, my own thought is that, yes, almost everybody has said it. We're all tired of the status quo in Nigeria. I've also been diaspora for a while before I came back to see if I could contest in 2019. Unfortunately, I was in APC, but now I've moved parties. I'm now in ADC anyway. Now, what I think that we have or we need is a total mentality and mindset change. You see, these two things, if we can incorporate it across all our parties, to be honest, Nigeria will change. The status quo, everybody is tired about it. Yes, we all agree. But what is our problem? What is our issues? It's a simple mentality and mindset of our politicians. I was just chatting with someone here or with is it everybody I messaged basically? And I said that, look, when I was growing up in the 70s, you dare not say you want to marry from a family of a man that has embezzled in government. But now it's the norm. Family will accuse to even give them their. Why? It's because our mentality totally changed. On. So I think we need to work on ourselves. And then as someone has said, I forgot Charles or something, we need to bring in everybody from kindergarten, change this mentality, change this mindset. And then I believe that with the good morals, Nigeria will change. As Mr. Kolawole Akinwale has said, Dubai was built when? It's just one person's vision. And look at it today. We all queue on the Emirates to go there on holidays. So I think the work is onto us, everybody here. You know, let the change begin as with us, as APC said in 2015, although that was wrong, but I think that we can adopt that. Everybody let the change begin with you. And I believe the sky will be the beginning for us all. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. Considering we've kind of, exceeded time, I don't really want to keep everybody here, make this conversation, one of those things that go out of the ordinary. I'd like to say, in closure, and I want everybody to feel free about this. I'm going to pick from across the panelists. So I'm going to start randomly. I'm going to start with Khadija. Khadija, just a 1 minute comment on, everything generally. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again. I wanted to make comments on Mr. Obasi, his submission. I really, really do believe in the power of film. When you have where we are right now, where you have, back in the day, you had how they used to communicate culture, pass information to us through, you had Tales by Moonlight, you had all these shows that help groom it, with the grooming right from the bottom up. I was watching Nickelodeon with my kids a few days ago, and I noticed, I mentioned this a few days ago, they had children who going to the farm, going to the stables, how to feed horses, and then they went to the farm to pick lettuce and different vegetables. And towards the end of the show, they say, oh, you've picked vegetables and you're going to make a great salad this evening. And I realized that this is what my children are watching. I don't have any show that is telling them how to go pick tomatoes and how they're going to have jollof rice for dinner, or how they're going to make stew for dinner, something they can relate to. And this is where it starts. You have lost them right from inception. And while we're talking about parties and what your future is and how you're going to film this or film that, these are the stories that need to be told. It seems like the price for power with political parties, the price of the game is just power. You just want to grab power, seize power. There's actually no ideology that is guiding a national political and social agenda. What is the unity of agenda that these are the things that help China, Russia, India grow? These create responsibility in putting out content It's not putting out content about what you're going to, how your party is flexing, or how your party is going to do create better content than the next one. No. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Khadija, for that input. Next, I would like to hear. Next, I'd like to hear from. Hello. Hello. Next, I'd like to hear from Dr. Nelson, Nigerian diaspora. I'd like to hear from you. Just a 1 minute summation of everything.
Yeah. Thank you so much. First, again, I must commend you for doing this and for the very mature way that individuals have been here, ironing it out and pouring their hearts out. In a segue to what Mr. Charles from North Carolina had said, it's commendable to see this take place. It does show that we do have the capacity, we do have the intellect, we have the will, and we have the zeal. And one thing is common, that we all love Nigeria across boards. It's shown, and we have the maturity to take on that. But one of the things I must correct, and I hear people say that often, that we've done a lot of talking. No, we haven't. Because I'll tell you this, if we didn't have this, I don't know what or who Kadisha is, or who El Ade Tunji is, and what role and the capacity and the strength that he has that can help me build Nigeria together if we didn't have this platform. So this discussion has to go on. It has to take place. We have to meet so that we identify who we are, identify our strengths, our intent and purposes, so that we can now collaborate together. And that's the word. Until we meet, we'll never be able to tell that. So yes, we'll meet, but then when we meet, what will be the outcome? As it is, we'll live here today. There have to be a working plan out of what the discussion is going to take place, that's taking place. Or if we need to have a continued discussion about things like this, it's important because communication is the key. Now, outside of discussing, what most people tend to say, we all have to come together, we all have to do this. Yes, I agree. But guess what? It's impossible that we all will get it done. Because then when we all expect everybody to get it done, nobody gets it done. So the work has to be a few. And I say this, look, change often comes from the determined will of a few. So if change is going to come, it's the determined will of a few who are committed to that change that will drive that change. And I see a whole lot of people who are committed. I want to see the will to collaborate together to drive that change. Whether you're APC, whether you're PDP, one thing is common, that on the average, people are young. On the average, people are committed. On the average, people love Nigeria. And this generation, just like the young man from PDP has said, spoke so eloquently and intellectually. We see parties here in the United States where in the Democratic Party, the young ones have basically upturned things around. And we see what's happening in the Republican Party as well. So it is time that the young ones who are within the political party in their political space will begin to have a sit down, a realignment with their values that goes along with what all Nigerians across the board, irrespective of political party, have, so that they'll have internal reconciliation and strategy formation. And that strategy formation they can use to connect with individuals across the country, irrespective of political party, so that then we can begin to move forward. And for engagement, look, if you're not in the table, you're on the menu. If you have to change power, you must get close to power. And what does that mean? Meaning you have to get engaged. You have to get in the political business. We're not saying everybody must run, but guess what? If you can't go, let your money go for you. If you can't go, Identify those who are in the same mindset that you are, or who you believe can run that journey, who are committed to doing it. Because a lot of the time, people are committed, they want to do the job, but they run out of steam. Steam in terms of resources. And when I talk about resources, I talk about money, time, and intellect. We all need all of that. So please, that's what we have to do. So if you can't go, let your money go for you. If you and your money can go, then even better. And look, a lot of us here and the diaspora were ready to run this race with you, but you have to connect with us. Having an engagement like this is perfect, and we need to continue the dialogue. And I must say thank you and God bless you. Hope this continues. Thank you.
Wow, I'm blown away. If you're not on the table, you're on the menu. That is absolutely brilliant. Well, anyway, before I make my closing statement too, because I'm allowed to say that, I would like to have Yetunde Adeniji of the APC, my sister. Go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, sorry. Well, I listened to everyone, and I must say, Mr. Kunle, thank you so much for bringing this platform on for this type of discussions. I think if we continue to have more of these type of discussions, we'll continue to understand ourselves better and see that sometimes we are not our own enemies, as we always presume. When people will just say, one particular political party is the enemy. When we have such opportunities to sit down and discuss and dialogue, we tend to realize that, it's never really the case. It's always just misunderstanding. One thing I would want to, put on ground is that we as people need to change or reorient our mindsets. The politicians that we have today that maybe seem good or seem bad were people just like me and you that were put into office. And for some reason, they decided to be good or they decided to be bad. If we can decide to change our mindsets and know that we're doing things not because of our own selfish interests, but because of our fellow brothers and sisters, then I think we would, go far in most of the things that we're doing. That is one. The second thing, again, that I look at is, yes, we talk, we have these types of conversations, but nothing would really move, not until you go back to your locality, not until you go back to your ward, your polling unit. Get to know who your chairman of your polling or if your ward is. Let's even start from there. If you're not, at home, try and get to find out what is going on within your community. The true picture of what things are happening or how things are happening within your community. That will begin to give you an idea of, okay, these are the problems that are on ground and how you can see on how to change stuff like, whatever is going on within your community. Thank you so much, Mr. Kunle, for this opportunity. I hope we have such discussions again. And I hope by the time we get to meet, at least some of us that are here would reach out to ourselves and try and see how we can, better understand ourselves and better see how we can move forward, within the political realm. Thank you so much, Mr. Kunle. Have a wonderful day or evening. Thank you.
My dear sister Yetunde, it's always a pleasure hearing from you. Most people not know that we've known each other for more than 20 years. So, of course, it's always a pleasure to have you. Without much ado, I'll call on Mr. Bright first to come on before Ifenla, and then we make our final closure as the Electoral College. So, Mr. Bright, you're next. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. In closure, I want to say that one of the things I like about the TV series Game of Thrones is that nine kingdoms are fighting for the throne. But when they realized that there was something bigger than the throne, that the Night King wanted to destroy them, at some point, these nine kingdoms had to come together to fight. Because they weren't just fighting for the throne anymore, they were fighting for their life, for survival. And trust me, that's where Nigeria is currently. Nigeria is at the point where we're fighting for survival. And it's time we look beyond party politics and think about the nation, because why many Nigerians are bailing out, why a lot of people are quitting, why a lot of people are giving up and a lot of things is because they don't see a future. I think this is a time where politics, where political parties, could give Nigeria that future, Nigeria that hope they desire. And, we may not be talking about coming together, as one. It's not about coming together. Politics, political parties must exist, yes. Political ideologies must exist here, but this is that time where it becomes country over politics. So we can at least be alive first before we talk about which party is on the throne, which party is not on the throne. And that means that everything we need to devise at this moment has to be people-centric. And I know one thing for sure, Nigerians are, the electorate is the power to break out of this. People are not bigger than what they know. So I think there's a lot of unknowing. I wish we had this, thank God we're having this conversation now, but I mean, we cannot just plan for 2023, we need to plan for the next 10 years. We need to plan for the next, because these things will not just happen, but this is that time, where we need to start building. Someone mentioned earlier about the next generation, building the next generation. I mean, currently, I would say in closing, I think one of the questions we must all ask ourselves is that what are we willing to sacrifice? Because it's not about what we want to do. It's about what we're willing to sacrifice to get there. Example, when I made the film If I'm President, the only reason my film wasn't on Netflix is because Netflix, from my aggregator, Netflix says the film is political and they are not ready to come in contact with Nigerian, but they don't want Nigerian government problem, that kind of, idea. And my film was doubly censored. It was censored twice because the name, If I Am President, it draws attention, and also it speaks to politics. So it drew attention. After the first censorship, they still came down to Lagos again to censor it a second time. But because I wasn't speaking to people, I was speaking to systems. They couldn't, I had no problem with censorship. But this other platform, they were, still saying this. Now, I am currently working on the series, which is to build over time. But some of these people are already saying, we may not be able to bring this, please, Nigerian politics, we don't want. But now, as a filmmaker, I have told myself, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to pay. Certain people may not want to bring it because of sentiment of, they just want to do business. Because sometimes when financial profit is all about the bottom line, purpose may be sacrificed. So if I want financial profit to be my bottom line in this sense, I may not be doing a film like If I'm President, I may be doing other things so that I hit the market commercially. And, but yes, you can strike a balance. But the truth is that anything we're going to be doing to really address this stuff, especially behavior, it has to be intentional. And if some of those people are not going to come, one of the sacrifices I'm saying to myself, as much as I learn about the business and apply the business in everything, purpose, it's the foundation of what I want. There's something I want to achieve. So for every one of us too, setting that as a benchmark, that the purpose here is to bring Nigeria to where it should be. Sometimes we might need to sacrifice some things of our party to make this work. If we're not willing to strike that compromise, we may not be achieving what we want to achieve. Once again, sir, thank you for bringing me on this platform, and thanks to everyone for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bright. And of course, I'll have to allow Ifenla to give a final statement before the Electoral College, of course, closes finally. Ifenla, are you there? And you can close finally. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Once again, thank you very much. And just in closing, I think I want to take a different route from where or what everybody has said. And that is bringing us back to, view, when people were selling tubers of yam in front of their houses, or rather in front of their stores. I mean, of course, I heard the story. I didn't see it happen. I heard it from my mother and from my grandmother. And the person selling wouldn't be available. She would tell her neighbor to help her sell. And anyone who wants to sell, or anyone who wants to buy rather, would pick up whatever he or she wanted, drop the money, and go away. And the neighbor will still be able to help out. Or even if the neighbor is not there, the owner of the store will still always come back and meet the money there. I mean, this was as far back as more than 30 years ago, but we don't have anything like that these days. And that comes back to a value system as a people. And I mean, in closing, again, I also want to quickly talk about communism and what I call societism. Basically, societism in this term being a social philosophy, that promotes the well-being of different societal groups at the source in creating wealth, in improving people's value system and water view. I think these are things that we need to start encouraging in our political parties. We need to encourage social power as a necessary foundation to political power. People want to have that sense that my money was used in building this party. People want to have that sense that my sweat, my skills as a writer, my skills as a graphics designer, my skills as an SEO person was used when this party was not that popular. We need to get to that point where we can let people have that trust. People should be able to trust us and say, oh, I belong to this party and I trust this party. And when people ask you, oh, what party do you belong to? And they say, oh, I belong to this party. Why? Because I trust this party. Because I know that they think about me first, because they are inclined towards me. They are inclined towards my care. I matter to them. So when we start thinking about this, about like I said, when we start about social power being a necessary about money bags, then it will be very, very easy for us to be able to connect to grassroots, because the grassroots is always there for the taking. It's always there and available for us to, rip off, so to speak. But unfortunately, this only happens during elections. And when we are able to figure all these things out, some natural things would just come into place, just a natural phenomenon. So say, for instance, people would embrace and exhibit stated values more. People would promote enterprises. They would be able to recruit. They'll be able to talk about your party without fear, without the fact that, oh, I'm doing this because I want to run for office. They will do it just like market women easily talk about their cooperative society, easily talk about somebody that sells, and maybe adire or sells materials in the market. It would be just a natural phenomenon. People would be able to be protective about themselves. So I think we need to start thinking about, and this cannot be done if we don't go back to the square roots, if we don't go back to what is bringing us together as a people, whether you're from the south, from the southeast, from the southwest, north central, northeast, or the northwest. And by so doing, members would be naturally subscribed. They'll subscribe to the party's value system. Members they know they have vested interest in the party, and then they become co-owners of the party. They know they have tangible benefits that accrue to them. So they want to, easily relate to the party. They know their leaders are accountable. They know that when a committee is set up, they know that they can always get feedback. These are things that people want to know, and not just, oh, it's only during election times and then we start hearing about them. No, people want to. I mean, I'm saying this because these are things that we get to hear from people. People really want to get the heartbeat of political parties. And until we become vulnerable to them, we let them see our weaknesses, we let them see our heartbeats, we might not be able to tell the true Nigerian story. Thank you very much, Mr. Kunle.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. It's been a privilege of the Electoral College to put everyone together in the same room, regardless of political party affiliations, to discuss matters. bring people from different sectors of life, discuss matters in a sane way. Now, the Electoral College, of course, understands, as much as you have your CSOs, of course, pushing for PVC drive, etc. The Electoral College believes in that. But the Electoral College firmly believes that if it can solve intra-party candidate, that's the intra-party democracy, that's bringing out the kind of candidates that are necessary, then we don't need to fight in the general election. The Electoral College is most concerned with what goes on in political parties because therein presents the candidates. So imagine if every candidate from a political party was worthy of being president. It means regardless of the number of people that participate in elections, which was sad looking at 2019, we had 28 million participating when we had 84 million people with PVCs. The Electoral College also understands that to develop where it's headed, it must have this kind of conversations. And not only have this kind of conversations, release communiques which state positions, which state what everyone is thinking, to be able to drive a new narrative. The Electoral College, of course, has remained committed and directed at changing the political thought process of the country. We pride ourselves in politracy. This is the last thing we're doing for 2021. The Electoral College is highly proud to have been honored by Yetunde Adeniji, Anthony Ebelibo, Bright Obasi, Khadija Okunolamidi, Barrister Ifenla, Dr. Nelson Aluya, Zainab Suleiman Umar, and Ambassador Rufus. It's only with these conversations we can build a Nigeria. Most people think Nigeria is so far from Dubai. The Electoral College believes that the greatest resource of the Nigerian people, of Nigeria, is the Nigerian people. And being the Nigerian people, we always ask the question, the sixth most populous country in the world, we don't need foreign markets. We have our markets. We also are of the understanding that if Nigeria fails, the entire Black race fails, being the most populous Black nation in the world. It's a privilege to host this on behalf of the board, the region of the Electoral College, and the number of graduates who graduated from our cohorts. It's been a pleasure doing this. It's been a pleasure having you take your time. And I'd like to close up at 10 o'clock Nigerian time, West African time. Thank you, everyone. And it's a pleasure. And the video is, of course, available on our YouTube page. We'll be sharing to our Facebook handle, and also you could watch and gain things. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy holidays, and we wish you a lovely 2022. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much. Have a very good evening.
Good night.
Thank you all. Have a good one.
Happy plans.